Hello, internet fans. It's your old pal Rotten Roger DeMarco here from 3bproductionco.com. This week, we're going to be talking about Jim Gillespie's 2005 film, Venom. Now, on the cover, it says, from the creators of I Know What You Did Last Summer. But, read the fine print. Kevin Williamson, who wrote I Know What You Did Last Summer and helped write Scream, only produced this film. So don't let that fool you. Don't think you're getting the same quality film. Here is the plot rundown. Ray is a creepy local tow truck slash gas station runner guy. Runs a gas station, drives a tow truck. Creepy looking dude, got a scar, he's greasy, so the locals clown on him a little bit. But Ray has a heart of gold. He's a nice guy. And he witnesses a car accident, attempts to save voodoo woman with a suitcase full of snakes, and he falls into the water and all the snakes kill him. Yeah, but the snakes are filled with the evil of a bunch of people who've done bad things, and the voodoo lady took out the evil from them. So now all of the evil that was in the snakes is now in the corpse of the nice gas station guy. He comes back and he kills people. That's the plot. It's a little muddy, whatever, but it's kind of a fun movie. Before we get into my overall thoughts of the film, first, let's take a look at Ryan Rogers!
Splatter fact.
We have 9 dead bodies. We have 0 titties. We have unbelievable swearing. We have CGI snakes. And we have fucking voodoo magic, man. The methods of death include but are not limited to jump scared, crowbar slicing, off-screened, sand blasted, torn apart, throat slashing, and a screwdriver to the noggin. Had to fix my hat. In the movie, the iconic thing about Ray is that he has a giant keychain of all these different keys. So everywhere he goes, you hear these keys jingling. And that's one thing that this movie does very well, is some of the sound design. You don't necessarily see the killer, but if you have a decent surround sound system, you will hear him approaching. It's a decent way to attempt to create tension, but there's a lot of things wrong with this movie. I'm gonna try not to shit all over it too bad. This movie totally has all the makings of a franchise. Okay, we have a sweet origin story. We have a decent look for a killer. He has the iconic keys jingling, so he sort of has a calling card. He uses a crowbar, so he has a very specific weapon, and he has a giant tow truck. So he sort of has all of these calling cards and all of these things that I feel like when they made this movie, they were like, we are genius. We are creating a franchise villain, and this could do very well. Could do very well. Unfortunately, it did not. Another one of those movies where they took a mildly successful rapper and put them in the film. They give them a bit part. They have Method Man in this movie playing a deputy. It worked for H2O. Put LL Cool J in there. H2O was 1998. This is 2005. We went through a weird phase where we just kept putting very recognizable entertainers, musicians, and things like that to try to appeal to the MTV audience. Another thing about this movie that I enjoy is the setting. I really like the New Orleans setting. You get swampland. Just these houses alone tell a very unique story. This marshland, the swampy surrounding areas, the voodoo mythology, all of these things. This movie should have been fucking incredible. We fall into that trope of the teenagers being incredibly too good looking. It just doesn't, it's not grounded in reality. Everyone is so pretty. This is a Dimensions film. Too shiny, too polished. This is one of those movies that is filthy and sweaty and should be just dripping. Just, ugh. You know, you should just feel like you need a cold shower after watching this movie, and it almost, and I mean almost, nails that atmosphere. But then everyone is just so nice looking, and the writing is very juvenile. It almost feels like whoever wrote this was very young. I don't know how to explain it. It feels like they're excited to be getting away with curse words. Or maybe this movie was just so watered down because there's not an abundance of gore. A Dimension slasher film from 2005 trying to keep up with the gore, torture porn of the mid-2000s. This does not deliver any gross kills. Everything is very simple, like blood splatters or stuff like that. The dialogue is cringe-worthy most of the time. It really feels juvenile in the delivery of the curse words. It just feels like, hey, we've got to get an R rating. We don't have any nudity. We don't have any gore. So if you guys could just sprinkle fuck occasionally, that would be awesome. Sort of like I do in my reviews. A lot of fucks and shits and fucking fucks. Whatever. I was gonna say, real people don't talk like that, but I talk like that a lot. I don't have a very big vocabulary. This movie went through a lot of title changes, which is not uncommon, but it seems like this one had quite a few title changes right up until release. I mean, it was originally titled Backwater, it was shot under the title Reaper, and changed the name to Venom right before the release. Now, I don't know if that's a telltale sign that the movie was really struggling to find its footing. I'd be curious to see how well it did in test audiences, because I really, really want to love this movie. I go back to this movie a lot, and I go, maybe it wasn't as bad as I'm thinking. So I like to go back and see if maybe my perspective has changed. So I watch this movie about once a year, maybe more. It's a very good background popcorn movie. It's not fantastic by any means. It feels more like a made-for-sci-fi channel horror movie. It doesn't live up to the potential that it had, and that's super sad to me, because I fucking want this movie to be great. Who knows what could have happened if we would have had a part 2 or a part 3. We got this franchise off the goddamn ground. But this movie got an 11% on Rotten Tomatoes. I find that hard to believe. I just don't think some horror fans really know what they want. And I feel like it's very easy to sit back and say, this is garbage. I try really hard not to say, fuck this movie, don't waste your time, because I believe that the medium of film is an important way to tell a story, and I believe that every director and every filmmaker in general, they're worth some time. Some are better than others, yes, but I have a hard time saying that this is a complete waste of time. That is not the case. It is a guilty pleasure of mine, however rough the film might be. It does have some fun things about it. It has actress Bijou Phillips being very flirtatious and slutty. She's a very convincing, nasty person. She does a very good job of conveying a trashy, slutty, mean-spirited person. When you have characters like that, it's fun to watch them bite the bullet. And she does get one of the worst deaths in the film. I've watched it a couple more times. It really does kind of grow on you as this rite of passage bad movie that is really fun to show a friend and be like, look at how silly this is. Look at the potential that it did have. I think it's an important movie to show to your friends and to have as a good popcorn Saturday night goof off movie. It's always fun to see villains that could have been franchise villains, and to just theorize about what you think could have happened. I am curious to hear what some of you think. If you think that this movie really does suck that bad, or if it's a guilty pleasure for some of you as well. So let me know in the comments what you think. For me, personally, I've got to give this movie 2 out of 5 blood drops, because there are many flaws. But my scale from 1 to 5 is a very wide spectrum. Even a 1-star film is not a trash film in my eyes. This movie is one of those movies that deserves to be seen, it deserves to be in your collection, and it deserves to be watched occasionally and laughed at and just have a fun time with this movie, because that's what this movie was intended for. You're not signing up to get grossed out. You're not signing up to get scared out of your fucking mind. You're signing up to watch a handful of people get killed by a would-be franchise villain, and that's reason enough to check it out. So, if I have swayed you to revisit or check out Venom for the first time, click the link in the description and order a copy today. I suppose I should probably get going, because after all, there's a lot of movies out there. Somebody's gotta watch them. So why not me? Right?